there, welcome to Frugalfull, all about budgeting and still living a full life as far as possible. And thank you so much for watching. It's great that you're here. Hope that you're well, hope all is good. Hope that you're keeping warm as well, because it's been so cold here in the evenings. And I can't help thinking about springtime. It's not too far away. Looking forward to it so much because, for one thing, hopefully this broken arm will be well on the road to recovery. Hopefully, if I'm not back to normal, I'll be close to it. And also, it's always such an uplifting time being able to start growing different veggies and salad and herbs and things. I love to do gardening, and I really enjoy growing my own food and produce as much as possible. But with the cost of living crisis, I'd really like to step that up this year. I don't know yet how possible that will be, and as far as being able to actually dig with a full-size shovel. That might be too difficult for me this year, at least for some of the year. But even if it's just container gardening, there's still a lot that can be done doing that. So the good thing is, at least I broke my arm in the winter. So if you can find anything good about these things, because at least in the winter there isn't as much that can be done anyway, and things go into hibernation mode. But now that it's February, there are some things that can be done, mostly indoors. So my plan of action is I'm going to start growing some indoor seedlings. I have little plastic cloches that I bought before Wilko was gone, and they were a really great price in the sale. I use them on some of my windowsills here, and it helps to keep them nice and warm. The difficulty is that Bella either knocks things over, not really very often to be fair, she's a good girl, but she will try and eat things if she can. So they've got these plastic kind of cloche lids that go over the top, so that helps a lot. Another thing is using little saucers and little plant pots, little miniature plant pots, and having these cloches over the top, like when you buy punnets, so things like berries or mushrooms or that kind of thing. And when you get the clear plastic punnets, and then if you puncture some holes in them, if they don't already have holes, they're really handy as an alternative as well. I use those at the allotment all the time. So in the first instance though, wherever possible, I'm going to use the windowsills at home. There won't be a huge amount of space, it limits what I can grow at home. But even to get a head start, growing a few things, and then once there are some wee seedlings, they can grow close together at first, but once some seedlings start to form and they're strong enough for me to separate things out and space things out a bit more, then they can go into the little miniature. You can get sets of little tiny miniature pots that are all in a kind of thing together. I don't know what the actual name of it is technically, the kind of plant pot, but it's like, say 12 for example, all divided up, so it helps keep the seedlings separate. So by the time they're big enough, maybe after a few weeks, at that point they'll be strong enough for me to transport them to the polytunnel and to the shed, and then I'll be able to split them up and grow them like that, where there's a bit more growing space. And once things get to that stage, then I can start with the next batch of seedlings growing here. Either, if things haven't done very well, the same type of plant again, or I'll look at the next set of growing season plants, which are probably going to be March plants. But today I'm going to have a chat to you about what I've decided to start off growing in February, and that hopefully by March it'll be getting bigger and stronger, as I say, and can go out into the polytunnel and the shed so that the seedlings can get bigger. And then the next stage will be once they get bigger and stronger again, and the springtime comes and the weather gets better, they can then sit out during the day sometimes, and it helps acclimatise them, and then they'll finally get to the point where they can be planted out. It will vary a bit depending on which thing it is that I'm growing. Some things can go out earlier than others. there actually are two things that I'd like to plant outside this month if I'm able to. One is lemon balm. So I actually have a kind of terracotta pot that I use to grow lemon balm. So that should be straightforward enough. Even with one hand, I should be able to manage that. It doesn't require digging deep into the ground. The other thing I'd love to try and buy and try and find, if possible, to order online, if it's within my budget for the month, are tubers for Jerusalem artichokes. I love artichokes, but I've never tried to grow them before. But apparently they're a perennial, and apparently they do pretty well. So, and they're good to plant at this time of year. So I'd like to try and get my hands on some of those tubers. And then if I do, then I'll plant them. They don't have to go too deep into the ground. And I would plant them in the raised beds where I have my fruit canes, which also come back year after year. So I think that would be a good spot for them. So hopefully we'll see what happens. I've also got a shopping list of some seeds that I'd like to buy. So I'm not sure how far my budget will stretch this month, but this will be an ongoing thing, picking up some different seeds or tubers or that kind of thing that I would like. A dream would be to get a fig tree to have in the polytunnel one day, but we'll see. So anyway, these things are the priority. So this is my wee shopping list. So the Jerusalem artichoke tubers, which I'd probably have to order online, maybe on eBay or something. I'll need to investigate. And then seeds are peas, cabbage, some early variety of salad leaves, spinach, shallots, spring onion, kohlrabi, which is a type of green as well, swede, sweet corn, sage, thyme, pak choi, which is an oriental green and it's very, very good, mustard seeds, cress seeds, and zucchini or eggplant. So that's what I'm looking for over the next wee while to pick up. For example, Lidl sell them and they're good value for money there. So maybe I'll plant some garlic or something in the ground. Outdoors, really my main plan, if I'm able with my arm, well, not using this arm basically, is weeding, clearing, covering of the ground, clearing away some leaf debris, because there'll still be some autumn leaf debris to clear. It's good to keep that there over the winter because it supports the animal insects and the animal life. So rare, but very occasionally there are hedgehogs down at the allotment. But it's been a long time since I've seen one. But if there's any chance that they're hanging about, I want to be able to give them a bit of a habitat over the winter. So yeah, I think it's really going to just be kind of preparation like that. Mixing some bone meal or some other kind of natural fertilizer into the soil and turning it over and things. But I'm not going to kind of worry too much about that side of things because, as I say, this year may need to be a year of growing things in pots only. I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize my arm. Everything's got to be in baby steps this year. And I should have a bag of compost in my shed here for growing the seedlings. And there are also a few pots with the cloche type of pots that I didn't ever actually clear up. So I know that there's at least a bit of compost to get started with. And then the things that I'm going to be growing in these cloches are broad beans and Brussels sprouts, 2 different varieties of peppers, tomatoes, 2 different varieties of tomatoes, wee cherry ones, and one called marmalade. No, marmande. When I looked at it upside down, I thought it said marmalade. And these are called Gardener's Delight, and they're cherry tomatoes. Cauliflower, spinach. I'm just using up the last of what's in these wee packets. And leeks. Oh yeah, leeks are a good one for this time of year. definitely. And I missed the boat last year, so I really want to embrace that. But there's a space where people can grow things and share them, so I was able to harvest some leeks because of that really lovely sentiment that happens there. There's like a kind of communal space near the polytunnel. So there's some cress. Oh, that's the herby things. I'll get onto that in a minute. Flowers. Well, I absolutely love sunflowers so much, and last year I didn't have any joy, so I want to try again this year for growing sunflowers. Marigolds. Marigolds are really good because they attract the pests, and then the pests leave the vegetables alone, or that's the idea. So you grow them and then have them sort of interspersed between different veggies. Sweet peas are absolutely beautiful, so I'd love to grow some of them. They're really nice climbing plants, beautiful fragrant flowers. And then the herbs are sage and thyme, mustard seeds, dill. Oh, dill's so good. Yum. What's this? Oh yeah, that was the cress. And finally, some sage. No, sorry, I said sage. Basil. So that's the herbs. But the thing is, there isn't really space to grow the herbs using the cloches. And actually it makes a lot more sense to grow the herbs at home, and then it means that they're there and they're ready. If I could have a wee kitchen garden to grow the herbs, then I've got them, and then they're easily accessible for when I'm making stuff at home. But I have a Bella, and as I say, she tries to eat everything. She's a wee minx. But I think what I'm going to do is research some different kinds of kitchen hacks, because things come up all the time online where there are different kinds of ideas for growing herbs in a space where there isn't really much room. For example, hanging things from curtain rails and that sort of thing. So I'm going to look into it and see, because if there's a way of growing things all year round like that and doing it in a way where they're sort of out of Bella's way and she's not going to bother with them, and then they're just there. Like there are things where it can hang from a curtain rail and sort of hang upside down, and then you can just pick the leaves off. So I'm going to look into that, because there's a certain cheeky madam here. No, you can't. You can't climb on that, you little monkey. She's trying to get inside this. This is where I store my seed packets. It's like an expanding box file thing. It's a really handy way, and then I've got it labelled with all the different kinds of seeds. So far I find that that is the best way for storing things, but occasionally the seeds will spill, and then I end up with some mystery seeds like this. I might sow the mystery seeds this month as well. We will see. These are going to be for the food bank, in case people would like to grow a few flowers and things. And I meant to say as well that when I plant things out, or sort of in between the polytunnel and shed stage and the planting out stage, I have, there'll be some empty raised beds, and I have some kind of perspex sheets and things, an old window, but I don't think I'll be able to lift that at the moment. But I do kind of have, I use those, and I do kind of makeshift cold frames. So I might use those. They can be a good kind of stopgap between the indoors and the outdoors as well. So that's the kind of different phases for that. But what I was also planning to do this year, so these are charity shop finds from ages ago. This is a really sweet one, Book of Days. They're not year specific, so it's just kept very generalised, so you could use it any day, any year, it doesn't matter, it's not specific to any year, as I say. But it's just really beautiful, this one. It's got so many lovely pictures through it, different wildlife. It's very botanical, and it's got pictures of different wildlife as well. It's pretty. So I'm going to use that, but I'm not going to use that this year. This is an any year diary that I bought a few years ago, and I did start using it once, and then I didn't really kind of follow through. I just circled some dates that were going to be significant, and then I didn't actually end up using it for what I had in mind. So as far as the actual spaces for each day, it's blank. So what I'm going to do is this year, and maybe next year, I'm going to just make notes, probably just pencil notes of what I do at any time I take any action, what I've planted, what I've harvested, this kind of thing. Just make a note of it in here as I go along, and then I can start getting more idea. Because what I do is each year at the moment I just do everything from scratch, but if I start keeping a log of it for a few years, I'll start learning a bit more about my patterns and my kind of roughly when I do things, and I can just kind of put a ticker across if that was a good strategy or not. And then eventually what I might do is I might kind of collate what's in this one and put it into this one, and then that way it can kind of be a bit of an organizer book. So I don't know, I'm still deciding how I want to document things, because as I say, each year it's just different each time, and I just write down notes here and there and put them in a binder, but it's not really very coherent. But I'd like to have a bit more structure to how I plan my years, because there are some things that are quite repetitive, and then each year I try something new. So in the last couple of years I've grown watermelon, which was really exciting. I've still never successfully grown pumpkin. I'd like to try that again this year. And I think if I do end up getting my hands on these artichoke plants, that would be really exciting to try growing them. So we will see. But it's just hopefully I'm going to be able to do some things this year, even if it's just a kind of, as I say, simpler year. But I just look forward to the point where A, I'm in a lot less pain, and B, I've got proper function of my arm and I can do things. I don't know how long it will be until I get to the stage that I can actually lift things. I can't even lift, like it's a maximum of 0.5 kilo at the moment, but I can't lift anything like that much, it's too painful. So, you know, it's like there's quite a lot of heavy duty things, using the wheelbarrow and shoveling soil and that kind of thing. And the hospital have been really amazing, and they said that eventually I'll be able to have normal function back again, which I'm just so grateful for. But it could be quite a long way, well not long, but it could be quite a while down the road. So basically I'm just going to have to be patient, and it will be worth the wait. But anyway, they are my plans for February, for planting and allotmenteering and gardening and prep. And also I'm thinking, as far as flowers and certain plants are concerned, I'll just duplicate. So if I'm growing things, then I might plant them in the garden here, or I might sometimes plant them at the allotment, one or the other, or it might be both, we'll see. But at least at this point in the year, while it's cold, I'll be starting things off here as much as possible with a cheeky Bella. I think that's everything I was going to tell you and share today. Yeah, so I will have a look into the kitchen garden, a cat-proof kitchen garden, and I will be back soon, actually starting to sow some seeds and things. But for today I thought I'd just have a wee chat about the plans to get started. And if you're thinking about growing any herbs, any veggies, any fruits, salad vegetables, flowers, or anything like that to have in your home or on your balcony or in your garden, or if you have begun allotmenteering, then congratulations. It's a really lovely journey to have. So if you're thinking of planting in any of these other places as well, then that sounds amazing, and I hope that you really enjoy it. I think having greenery around us at home, and even in small spaces, it's just so uplifting and it's so good for us. So it's really amazing if you're considering doing that. And if this is a new thing for you, then I hope this has given you a few ideas of things that you could get started planting in February, especially as it's quite a cold February as well. Hopefully these things will do okay, because as I say, they're going to be indoors anyway and by the window, so they'll get the heat from the sun during the day, and it gives them a good start. And it will be spring before we know it. Cannot wait. Thank you for joining me today, and take care. I'll see you next time.